You're joining us for part two, where Michelle discusses how easily she was able to move through ending a relationship and navigate through that difficulty in a very fast and easy way. Enjoy. Yeah, you kept saying, I can't believe I'm like sleeping better. There was a couple of things that were pretty major shifts for you, especially around your relationship. You were ending a relationship, and then some people would get really stuck in the way that sometimes that relationships unfold. And you
Mhm.
just seem to get more and more clear. You had one little upsetness. We worked it through within an hour, and you
Mhm.
just became settled because we worked with your authority, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people may not be aware of the human design authority. Some people are solar plexus, some people are soundboarding, but with your particular way, we work through the waves very quickly, and we could identify them one after the next. And with each one, you just came down into this open
Mhm.
space, and then you had your information. You could handle work, boom, 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 boom. And normally in the past, how long do you think that would have taken you to get through?
Probably would have taken me a lot longer. When you're trying to work through something by yourself, it can be difficult. And if you do a certain amount of work, you have to be careful who you talk to,
Mm,
because if you go to certain people, they're not going to really help you through it. So I know, I appreciate that you understand the design, human design, mine. So you're able to work with that. So you know how I work through things. For
mm,
me, I usually need to vent immediately, just kind of emotionally, just vent it all out. And then I shift into, okay, what am I going to do about this? But if I skip that part of venting,
mm.
then I'm not going to be able to make the right decision. So I know that I have to work through all that emotional yuckiness. And if I talk to the wrong person while I'm working through that, I think it can really just throw things off. So what happens is I end up trying to work through a lot of things on my own. I don't
Mhm.
get advice. I don't, for me, I'm not an advice person because I know I make good decisions on my own, but I have a process that I need to go through
Yeah.
to make those good decisions. So it's really important. You helped me see that I can work through those things that I know what is good for me, but I can do it a lot quicker now because
Yeah.
I could, yeah, you've helped me learn how to navigate through it quicker.
Well, with you, just for example, if anyone has a solar plexus or emotional authority, if you know who you are that has that, there are waves that you have to go through. And the first one is like a big wave. Like in any decision making at all, you guys have to take your time. You cannot just say yes, boom. What ends up happening is someone will say, like, oh, I love this new course that I'm taking. And then suddenly it's like, why am I taking this course? That's what we want to avoid. If you were a splenic, someone who had a splenic authority, you would know immediately what was correct for you. Your nervous system needs time to go through the three different waves. And there were exactly three different waves. And then you went into that smooth place because you were able to vent high,
Mhm.
vent low, which is kind of like,
Mhm.
I know what I'm going to do. Well, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. Then, well, maybe I'm ready for this one. I think I'm okay. And then poof, then you're at the, you know what? I just know I have to cancel. I need a couple more days, cancel the trip, rejoin later, whatever it is that you discovered. And then you went into smoothness. Within about an hour, you were able to do this it was a big thing. It was a jarring, shocking situation. Most people probably, if you have any girlfriends or friends that you know that go through this kind of a thing at the end of a relationship, it takes them months to go through a big like a unexpected surprise that's negative. And
Mhm.
now you are so clear within like a week or so, you were literally just totally clear that this was the right move. You did everything you could. You were very settled in yourself. Would you say that that was true for you?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It was easy for me to just look at it and go, okay, this is very clear now. And when you have clarity
Mm-hmm.
and feel grounded, there's a huge sense of peace. And you feel like you're exactly where you need to be, and there's no wavering because it's hard to explain. But when you're clear and you work with yourself and you know the things that you need to do to get through that, that's how we get to the peace. Like we have to go through. People usually avoid, or they stay too much in the drama and the venting and the thing, the tapes and just going over and over. So then they're stuck. They're stuck. There's no movement. And that's why for me, I have to be careful who I contact when I'm going through something like this, because I don't want to remain stuck. And I know that I won't be stuck. And I know that I have to do this process. And once I do that process, I feel better. But if I call the wrong person while I'm going through this process, it'll just make things worse. So I feel more clear about that. Like I knew those things about me, but it wasn't as clear as us working together, how clear that is now, which means that I can control it better the next time something comes up, because I know that process and that I can easily work through that process.
Yeah, and it's natural. All of us are designed a very natural way, but we've often been conditioned as to not know how to use it. So what I find is people not you necessarily, but someone else who's splenic, for instance, and you may not know what that means, but a splenic person has immediate access to a part of their inner self, their higher self, speaking to them very quickly. But those people tend to skip over the first thing. And then the emotional solar plexus, like you have, you guys, if you're not really aligned in yourself, you end up thinking that the first thing you hear is correct. So you guys are switched. But we've already talked about this, and you already knew this about yourself, that you always need time. And I've told you many times for a while now, time is perfect for you. There should be no rushing. You need to wait to respond and then wait for your emotional waves. And then you come to that smooth place where it's okay either way. And then you're going to get your clarity. So, yeah. And also I think you said to me that people or someone has noticed a shift in you because the way they were asking, like, what do you do? What are you doing? Right.
Yes, yes. So I have a friend, and she even asked me, she said, I know that you've been doing this coaching thing. She said, I'd like to learn more about it because I do see a difference. And when I met her, I was actually like right before the last split, before divorce. And I was just overwhelmed, moved, new job. I had to fire somebody. Then I had to hire somebody. And the person before left a humongous mess. So I'm just kind of painting a picture here of what kind of stress that is, that, having all of that. And so when she tried to be friendly with me in the parking lot when I first moved, I was just like, oh man, I can't have a new friendship right now. Like in my head, I'm thinking this is just overwhelming. She seems really nice, but I'm not the type that you can usually see how I feel. So she probably was like, oh, okay.
Well, you also need time in relationships. You need time. We just talked about
And
that.
everything.
In everything.
Yeah.
That's natural for you. That's correct for your
Yeah.
being. That doesn't mean you can't eventually have a good relationship, which is kind of what ended up happening with you two, right?
Yeah. And we have, so that's the thing is, and this has become more clear with us working together, is that I see these things so much more about myself. So I'm not judgmental that, I'm like this. And I think I can speak my truth better because I understand it. And for instance, when I first moved into my house, all these water softener people are knocking on my door. I barely was in the house, and they were, I can't stand that. And I looked at her, I said, look, I don't want to do anything for 2 months. I just moved. I'm not ready to make a decision. I have to research. Do not come to me, for 2 months. And then she shows up at my door a week later, banging on the door, upsetting my dogs. And I thought, oh my gosh. But sure enough, it's been 2 months since I moved and I just got a water softener from a different company. But I knew that about myself. Like I knew that, right away I was like, I'm not ready for a big purchase like this. I just moved. Don't, come to me, but I will talk to you, but you have to come back to me in 2 months. Like I was very clear,
You're very clear.
like I know that about myself. I can sit there. And so that's why when I try to talk to people and they try to convince me of something, I start to get like, and if they don't take the no and they don't respect my boundary, then I start to get frustrated. And this actually happened in my marriage, is I would say no, and he wouldn't respect my boundary and understood how I operated. And I have to kind of compartmentalize certain things if I have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And my focus is on those things. And until I can get that situated, whatever you come to me is just a big, huge bag of burden.
Well, it's interesting because you and I both took our time before we were able to converge and work together. I kind of wasn't ready energetically, and you weren't either. It was like perfect timing. And then the dog trauma thing, I was like, it's time. And you just went, yes. So I didn't move quickly into things either. And I'm also, honestly, I'm pretty picky on who I work with. No one is for everyone, and no one is anyone's savior. I need to say that. But when we're really ready, it's something just happens where there's no effort. That's why I call what I do is practicing freedom, practicing clarity. We're practicing a new way of being. Join Michelle and I as we continue our conversation. If you'd like to learn more about Michelle, go ahead and check her out in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and love to hear any questions from you or comments. I will see you soon. Bye.